Hi, this is Erin, and welcome to Everything EFL, my little podcast about English language teaching and other teachy stuff too. Credit and honourable mentions will be given during the episode or in the show notes. Let's crack on. Hello, you gorgeous teacher. Welcome to Everything EFL. My name is Erin. If you are one of my gorgeous regular listeners, welcome back. If you are a new listener, you are most welcome. I'm delighted to have you. And yeah, what can I say? This is going to hopefully be a very useful episode for you. So, how are you? I'm grand, as the Irish say. I started a new job last week and, I'm a seasoned teacher, but I think as you get older, you definitely fear change a little bit more, don't you? I walked into that staff room last Monday like a little mouse, like, hi, how are you? Which isn't me at all, but, it's kind of different. It's just a bit intimidating going into a new situation, but I got through the week. I'm fine. It's Thursday. Pretty tired, but Friday's coming, so, I look forward to just chilling out with a cup of tea and an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race tomorrow night, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Anyway, why did you come here today? Well, I'm going to talk about reflection. So I briefly mentioned it in episode 73, small victories, learning goals and reflection. So I definitely think you should go back and listen to that one if you haven't, because these two episodes are definitely connected. So by the end of this episode, you'll have a really nice activity to use with your students. It's really nice, like at the start of a course, but you can literally do it whenever, especially if you are really into, setting goals with your students, or you feel like that's something you need to start implementing. These two episodes are very much connected. So we might all agree that reflection is a powerful tool, but how can we help students to reflect in the classroom? Now, so why is reflection so important? So let's just have a quick rundown of the benefits of reflection. So let's start with significance. It allows students to see the importance of their own learning process. Sometimes students don't realise that the learning process isn't just about what's happening in the classroom. I always remind my students and to ask them, what are you doing outside of class? Who do you follow on social media? Even just little things like that, because sometimes students don't really realise that there's a whole world out there where they can acquire and learn English if they can sort of tap into things that interest them. And then that allows them to, have some autonomy over their learning experience as well, because ultimately that's what you want to do. You want to sort of steer them towards, other things other than a textbook. So another thing is process recognition. Students can identify what they did well, what they failed at, and what they need to change. And now, I think it's important how you word this. Like I always in my classroom, like if we're saying, do you think you achieved your goals this week? If the answer is no, there's no shame or judgment here, but we need to figure out why you didn't achieve your goals. Is it because you didn't have enough time? Is it because you just weren't motivated? Okay, so if you weren't motivated, maybe we need to change your goals, stuff like that. Solutions and strategies. So this provides students with opportunities to come up with solutions and strategies to improve on their learning. So see last comment, I suppose. And again, it's all about giving them autonomy and choice. Why should you do all the work? If students should have the choice to figure out what they want to do and what they're going to do to, improve something or change something or whatever it is. Motivation, the big M word. Reflection provides students with motivation to learn and enjoy the process of learning. This motivation comes from them reflecting on their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. A couple of things that I sort of think about when I hear that. One is, something that I've done a few times before with really shy students when I've encouraged them to sort of push themselves and talk, is ask them at the beginning, how do you feel about this activity we're going to do? And they invariably say nervous, blah, blah, blah. And then they do it. And then I say, how do you feel now? And they're like, well, pretty good, actually, And then that kind of, okay, this wasn't so bad. I achieved something. And then if we talk about enjoying the process of learning, this is like a really vital component of students choosing something they're interested in that taps into their interests and passions. Are they going to watch a TikTok video or a YouTube video, or are they going to watch a video about something that really interests them, that they're actually going to be engaged with and enjoy? This is so, so important. Without that interest, you're not going to get motivated and they're not going to learn. Analysis. The most important benefit of reflection in the classroom is for students to be able to know why they needed to learn particular concepts, theories, and ideas. So, that's when you have to sort of make sure that you connect any language point you're doing to their lives. Why is it relevant to them? Why are we doing this? How can we, take this piece of language, this grammar point, this word, this phrase, and use it and connect it to your life somehow? When you write a sentence with this phrase. Okay, write a sentence with this phrase that's connected to something that is true for you. Surely that's much more useful. And, it's so important for students to know how to learn and how to continue to be learners. Like just coming to class, studying a course book, memorizing content, that's not going to help students become critical thinkers. Critical thinking stems from pausing, reflecting, knowing how and why learning should be happening at that moment. Now, I could go on, okay? But I think we've got enough there to be getting on with, don't you? So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. I have an activity that I've done a good few times, and because I'm so nice and I love you so much, I've made it into a little freebie. When you're done with this episode, go to the show notes, click on the link, and you can actually have this activity for yourself. Now, the good thing about it is it's on PowerPoint, so it's fully editable. You have a choice to just keep it as it is or to adapt it to your class, which is what I'm sure you're going to do. Because as I always say, you know your learners best, okay? Not every statement on the PowerPoint is going to be relevant to you and your class. Now, I am coming from the standpoint of someone in Ireland, and I'm teaching people who are coming over from foreign countries and living in Ireland. So that creates a specific set of circumstances for them, just as if you were teaching in a school in France and you're teaching French students, that's going to be a little bit different, so you're going to have to adapt it. But I'm going to leave that up to you. Now, let's talk about the benefits of this activity. Loads of opportunity to speak. You're asking students to be introspective. That may be easier with peers and kind of without you listening. You are going to sort of stay at your desk during this activity, just kind of within earshot, but maybe not. It's about them talking about how they feel to each other about certain things. No corrections here. It's not an error correction exercise. And again, if you kind of stay back and they see you're not like really listening in, that might encourage them just to talk a bit more freely. It's reflective. Have I mentioned that already? I have. Okay, let's move on. Collaboration. You'll see at the end when we talk about goal setting. Students are going to brainstorm and come up with ideas together. Choice. You're giving students a choice at the end. In fact, you're giving them a choice all the way through it because they have 3 options to choose from. This will become clear in a moment, I promise. And hopefully you're going to break down a few walls as well, and I'll give you an example of that in a bit. So, what on earth am I talking about? Okay, so what I've done is I've designed this PowerPoint, and on each slide there is a statement. For example, I feel like I've stopped learning. I always ask the teacher if I don't understand. I do other things outside class to study English. I'm a little afraid of speaking English, all kind of stuff like that, okay? And at the top of the slide, on the left, you have yes. On the middle of the slide, you have maybe not sure. And on the right, you have no. You get everybody to stand up if you have space. If you don't, maybe you need to figure out how to do it in another way. So you read the statement together. For example, I'm a little afraid of speaking English. Okay, and if students agree with that, they move to the side where the yes is. Did I say the left? I think I said the left. If no, they move to the right. And if they're not sure or maybe, they kind of stay in the middle. And then they grab a partner and they have a chat. So let's say you have 8 students on the yes side. Get them to split up into 2s or 3s and talk about it. Why am I afraid? The people who are on the no side, why am I not that bothered? Give them a chance to speak for a little bit. And then you can kind of have a bit of an open class discussion about it. So get a couple of people to talk. In this instance, why are you afraid if you're comfortable answering? And then, you can inject your own little sort of thing in at this point. Like with that question, are you afraid? Yes. I always ask them, are you afraid of judgment? Because that's a lot of the time what it is. And they always say yes. So I just say, yeah, but who's judging you? Who exactly is judging you? Am I judging you? Is there anybody else judging you? No? Okay. And sometimes just you asking that question does create that light bulb moment for them. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work with every student, but it does work with some. Suddenly they're kind of like, yeah, actually, you're right, So, it's worth sort of, stopping, allowing them to talk between each statement, and then giving a little bit of sort of, whole class feedback, and then injecting kind of like a positive spin on it if you like, if you can. It's, again, all up to you how you do this. So you keep going through that. You show them a statement. They move to whatever side of the class is relevant for them. They chat. And then at the end, there are 2 slides. And they have basically tips of things they can do outside the classroom. Now, before you show them that, you ask the students to get into groups, brainstorm on whiteboards or flip chart paper or whatever. What can we do to learn English outside the classroom that doesn't involve a course book? Now, if they kind of look at you very blankly, okay, which they might do, because, at the end of the day, a lot of students do associate studying English with that sort of traditional concept of studying, looking at a book or reading a book, reading a novel or something. So you have to kind of, break down those sort of concepts of what, learning a language actually is. So you could give them a really simple example and, again, make it as relevant as you can to them. So something like, are you on TikTok? Who do you like? Who do you follow? Is there somebody English speaking you can follow? Could you read their posts? Could you listen to one of their videos? Could you even write a comment? Really simple. The thing with reading as well is a lot of students, when you say reading, they assume you mean read a book, but it could literally be reading a post on social media. That's still reading, or reading the back of a packet of crisps or something, looking at the ingredients and the product description. It could be something really small like that. They're still doing it. They're still achieving something. Yeah, get them to brainstorm, and then maybe you could show them the 2 slides and see, let's see how many ideas you had that are similar to my ideas. And then the final stage is for students to actually choose a couple of things from that list that they could do within the week. Okay, so between Monday and Monday, for example, choose a couple of things that you would like to do and achieve. Could be something really, really simple. Could be something a bit more complicated. But I would advise, baby steps. Choose 1 or 2 things, maybe just one thing. And then a week later, you have a little reflection session. So I go into this in detail in episode 73, but I'll just kind of repeat the sort of questions that you get them to discuss. So things like, did you achieve your goals? Why not? Was it easier than you thought? Do you want to sort of do the same thing next week, or do you want to sort of, if that was easy for you, do you want to try and push yourself and do a little bit more, for example? And then just get them to write down 1 or 2 more goals for this week. This week I'm going to what? And get them to write it down, because I found out, and I think this is really interesting, that you're 60% more likely to achieve goals if you write them down rather than just think about them. Isn't that interesting? There are like a million other reflection things you can do, and maybe I'll do another episode on that in a bit. But I think for now, I think that's something to think about. Okay? Like I said, look in the show notes. You will find the link to your free lesson plan there with the reflection. I pretty much just gave the instructions to you on this episode, so you may have to listen back and take notes. So if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Word of mouth is probably the most powerful tool, so please recommend this podcast to your colleagues, to the people in your staff room. I'm always happy to have new listeners, and I absolutely love engaging with you. Like I just love it when you listen to an episode and you send me a message and you tell me how much you enjoyed it. That really makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And if you have any requests for any episodes in the future, please let me know, because I am here to serve you. So I'll leave you. Have a lovely week. Have a safe week. Look after yourselves. Be mindful. If you're feeling stressed, close your eyes, go to your happy place, reset, and crack on. Share the love, guys. Bye.